Hey everyone, thanks so much for stopping by today to the Pepper Peach, where we are going to be checking out the Chocolate Soufflé from Magnolia Cookbook Volume Number 2. So if you remember from last season or maybe the season before, we did do a soufflé, but not a chocolate one. So sign me up for a chocolate soufflé. It's my first time trying it out. We have all of our ingredients here. Bauer's going to be my helper from afar, and let's get started. All right, so our first step is to get our ramekins ready. So we have 8 ramekins here. We're gonna brush them with some melted butter, the sides and the bottom. I'm gonna put this off to the, well, put it here. Actually, I lie, I'm gonna put it here. And then once we're done putting in the melted butter, we're going to, oh, they're stuck together. There we go. We're gonna put some granulated sugar on the bottom and the sides. So, let's go in. Last 2. Then let me just use it up as much butter as possible. Since I melted it, butter's expensive, let me throw it all on there. All right. Alrighty, so now that that's all set, let's get our sugar, and we're just gonna sprinkle this on the bottom and the sides, wherever it takes, since we just put that melted butter in. A little bit more left. Not that we need to use it all, but make sure I'm covered in all areas. The sides, the bottom. Okay, we should be good. All right, now we're gonna head over to the stove to start melting our chocolate, and then we're gonna end up using that with some of our milk and get that all together on a saucepan and combine all the ingredients to get our soufflés in the oven. Okay, so while our pot is warming up so that we can melt our chocolate, I'm just gonna quickly chop up some of this unsweetened chocolate. And this is 2 ounces of unsweetened chocolate. So now that I have that, I'm going to go to the stove and get this melting. Well, let me put it on here. Easier, right? And I'll get chocolate all over my white shirt, because that's what happens. All right, so now we're here. We're gonna dump this in. The water is almost boiling. And we're going to let this sit. It's already starting to melt a little bit, so we're getting there. But we'll leave this on, we'll keep stirring for a couple minutes, and then once this is all melted, we'll take it off, and then we'll start on our second phase. All right, this is almost melted, maybe 1 more minute, and then we'll take this off the stove. We'll throw it on the counter, and we'll get started on whisking our butter and milk and flour together. So I have this heat going on just so that we're ready to go, but just another 30 seconds. All right, with the 10 seconds left for the chocolate, I'm gonna throw in our butter. It's 3 tablespoons. We're gonna let this melt first, and then we're gonna add in our flour and whisk that for about a minute, and then the milk, and then we'll add the milk in, whisk that up, and then we'll head back to the counter. All right, the chocolate is all melted. It's ready to come off the stove. Okay. We'll leave this here, we'll head back to the stove and get our butter and flour going. All right, we are ready to go. Our butter is all melted. We're gonna sprinkle in the flour. We're gonna whisk this till it's combined about a minute. Well, maybe less, depending. Let's see. Smells good. I know it's just flour and butter, but it smells good already. Now let's add in our milk, and we will drop the heat to low now. And we're just gonna whisk this until it's nice and smooth. It's getting there. All right, I think we're good to go. So I'm gonna turn this off and let's head over to the counter. All right, so our next step, I'm just gonna read this out loud to make sure I have this right, because this is very sensitive, right? We have egg yolks that we're gonna be combining with the chocolate, with our mixture now, so let's read this together, right? So we are going to remove the saucepan from the heat, transfer the mixture to the bowl with the melted chocolate, and stir to combine. Let's do that. Okay. All right. Just about it all here. All right. Now let's mix this together with our chocolate. All right, so now that that's all combined, now she says to slowly stir in the egg yolks with the chocolate mixture. Okay. So we have how many egg yolks? We have 6 egg yolks here. So let's, you know what? I think I'm gonna use this since I can break it up a little bit. We're gonna slowly get this going. I'm gonna work with this first. Stir it together. I'm always nervous that like all of a sudden I'm gonna have omelet, you know? Like a chocolate omelet. This part always makes me a little nervous. Okay, let's get the rest of them in here. All right, so those are our 6 egg yolks. And excuse me. Excuse me, Penny. Penny. Thank you. Penny's being very vocal today. She is not a fan of chocolate, clearly, since dogs can't have chocolate. But she would not be game for a chocolate omelet. All right. Now my wrist has gotten a good workout. I'm stirring this. And get all this off. And I'll give it one last stir. Okay. Now we're gonna set this aside, and I'll pull out the electric mixer because we got some mixing to do with the egg whites. Okay, so our next step is to take our egg whites, which is 5 large egg whites. We're gonna dump that in along with our vanilla. And we are going to mix this for a little bit. We want the egg whites to get foamy. So let's get foamy. Once it starts to get foamy, we will sprinkle in our granulated sugar. All right, so you'll see that they're foamy. Let's see, nice and foamy. So now that they're foamy, I'm gonna keep this going and then we're gonna sprinkle in the sugar. Which is a half a cup plus 1 tablespoon. Very specific. We want the consistency, she says, to resemble whipped cream. And she says about 3 minutes, but it definitely looks like it's whipped cream already, but I'm gonna give another minute. All right, I think we're ready. Definitely looks like whipped cream. Look at that, nice. All right. Now we are going to fold in 1/3 of this, whatever that is. We're gonna put this in to our chocolate mixture. So I'll put in some of it off the side, and we're gonna fold it in. If anyone is a Schitt's Creek fan, I always think about the time that the mom and the son were making, I forget what they were making. It's only one episode I've seen. Well, I've seen the whole series, but one episode I've only seen once, and they're like, what does even folding mean? What is that? What do you mean fold? So whenever I see that as an instruction, I always think of Schitt's Creek. I'm just folding away. Folding and folding and folding. So it's combined, and then we'll add in the rest of the egg whites and fold that in. All right. Okay. Folding, folding. It's a lot of egg white. I hope it absorbs. We can't do a heavy stir on this because it does say in her instructions to not let it deflate. So I'm hoping I'm doing it right. Wow, this looks really good, gotta say. All right, so then once this is done and all, like I feel like we're ready to go, we're gonna divide these out into the ramekins that we prepared earlier. So just give it another couple folds. All right, well, wait, hold on, let me just get this in there. Some chunks. Okay. All right, let me get a spoon with a little lip on there and we'll start dividing this out. All right, so we are ready to go. I have a spoon here and I'm going to parcel this out. So let's do it. How much should I put in? I guess I'll just divide it out while I go here. It smells like brownies right now. I'm not gonna lie. Pen. Don't be a bad girl. Don't you dare be a bad girl. Okay. All right, these are all done. Now the only thing that we have to do now is put them in the oven for, she says, 12 to 15 minutes. Oven's on at 375. Let's pop them in and see what happens. I'm gonna hope for the best. Okay, 12 minutes is on the clock. Let's see what happens. All right, we're ready. It's been a little bit more time than I thought. She says 12 to 15 minutes, but it probably was about more like 18 to 20 minutes for me. So let's pop them out. But look how pretty they look. They look like brownies, right? All right, let's get our powdered sugar on here. Some more. All right, let's try one out. All right, it is time to try our souffle. Let's check it out. It's good. I think it needed to rise a little bit more. It's not as sweet as I thought it was gonna be with all that sugar. I inhaled powdered sugar. This is good. I think it needed maybe some ice cream on top to get it flowing, maybe some hot fudge. But I think it needed to just be a smidge sweeter. Believe it or not, I do think so. Even with all that powdered sugar, I feel like it, it really has gone down. So maybe it needed to be in the oven a little bit longer. That wouldn't help the sweetness, but would I make this again? Yes, because I want to see if I can make it actually overflow, because it did rise a lot, but then as soon as I took it out, it went right down. But it's quite tasty, and I think with some ice cream, I like it even better. So if you try it at home, let me know what you think. If you've made it before, I want to know what your thoughts are. So thanks so much for coming by to watch me make this chocolate souffle from Magnolia Cookbook, volume number 2. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. See ya. And we combine that with this, and then we add in the egg yolk to here. My favorite. All right, now we're over here. What's wrong? Did I do something wrong? Okay, good. Whew, bye. Like the little, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. It's all right. It's okay.